Yes, it is.
Yeah. So well, thank you for coming back and doing this again. For everybody who's coming in. So I'd like to hand over to you on your presentation. It takes a village to raise a digital citizen. So thank you, Casper.
Thanks, Shane. Hi, Kate. Hi, Miriam. Hopefully we get some more people in, because it's going to be interesting with the few polls I have that we only have a couple of people in. But hey, that's the way it is. And it's great that it gets recorded. The recording is on, so that other people can watch it at their leisure, if they so desire. Look, first of all, my own experience with this iMoot has been really terrific. I've seen some talks that I really was able to take away some valuable information, and I love the platform like probably everyone else. Moodle has been my choice in learning management systems. Having seen quite a few of them and gone through a number of MOOC experiences, getting a sense of what works, what doesn't work. And what I do like about Moodle is it's right from the start, it's been designed for teachers, for education, and it has a very constructivist philosophy behind it, which I can really connect with, and have taken this Moodle. And really, let me see what's being said. Hi, I'm shutting off the webcam. Having some trouble. It's still audio issues, huh? Kate, maybe leave the session. Hey, are you all hearing okay now? That's there's a little hand on the left-hand side. You can just raise your hand if you're okay. Okay, that way. Yes, good. So. Basically, Moodle has been a choice for me in that, this constructivist approach behind it really works for me. And I wanted to take that and really amplify that. And that's why I look at very much using Moodle in a social context. When I went through my MOOC experiences, where you're really like now working with people that have very little social relationship with each other than the interests they may share. My interest is working with groups of people that do know each other, and so there's a prior relationship, but there may be something within these groups that needs to be discussed and is not so easily done. And in this particular situation where we have school communities, you've got teachers, you've got parents, and you've got students. They all know each other, presumably. And but talking about how they're using technology and the likes, maybe talked in ad hoc, but not in depth and not really collectively where there's real learning going on. And so Moodle is ideal for that. And so I've designed this program to really facilitate that process. So let's we all got overwhelmed with this technology stuff. I don't know how many educators we have here, but let's have a quick look. So what is your background? Just this generally works well for big audiences, but let's see what Kate and Miriam are coming. So instructional designer and a Moodle techie. Okay, now teachers. Well, that's good. With these little polls, you can immediately gauge if who is in the room, and then act accordingly. So I'll probably will talk a little bit more about it from a designer point of view. I think the thing that I contribute in this iMoot is this whole idea of using Moodle in a social context and really amplifying that. So digital citizenship is a big issue. That's the topic that I'm using. It's a good topic to use in this social context because, one, it's new, and you've got your students, you've got your parents, and you've got your teachers, and they all know bits of it, but it's very disjointed, and some of it is completely gone, not there at all in the first place. And the interesting thing in these situations is that students actually have, in many ways, superior knowledge to the other two groups about these issues. But there's a lot of stuff lacking. And so an ideal topic to use in this social context, because don't worry about this. It basically forces people to work together in a way where the parents, teachers, and students each will be learning from this process, but also will be feeding into this process, creating new knowledge. And of course, all to the benefit of teaching students internet maturity. But there's aspects to this. Teachers are learning, parents are learning, students are learning, but they also feel that they own what they are learning because they are contributing to it. And that's a really important issue, particularly for students. This program evolves around the digital citizenship policy, which is common to schools. When kids enter grade 7 or middle school, they are being given this document called the AUP, Acceptable Use Policy, basically a behavior document statement. And the parents and the students have to sign this, and they have very little knowledge about this document. And that's the good enough kind of approach to things for most schools. Then when some issue comes up, like a cyberbullying or what have you, then that document is pulled out and said, look, you've been very naughty, you've broken this rule. But there's very little education about it, and so I've set out to change that using this kind of program. So a program like that, really needs to be community focused. That's obvious. It also needs to be balanced because there's so much negativity about, the fear of what can happen with the internet and people getting cyberbullied or all these negative issues that we hear through the media. But there's, of course, this enormous positive side of things as well. There's enormous leverage the internet has with education, connecting globally, learning from each other and all that sort of stuff. And the program needs to be really engaging, because kids, they are so, stimulated by wonderful media, video games and the like. So if you make the educational program boring, well, then you'll get real low turnout. Okay, the program needs to be really flexible because what I find is that when a program put into a school context, first of all, there's a lot of resistance to it, because it's technology, it's the unknown. Do we have to do this? What more work are we getting here? And all that sort of stuff. But the learning management system, is really flexible, and you can make quite a convincing argument with school administration that, look, this is already ready-made. It can just slide into your programs, and it just brings in all the different groups of your school community completely on a flexible base. They can hook in whenever they want to, etc. Great. They can do it on all devices. And from the school's point of view, it is a seamless fit, so that the program is designed in such a way that it fits into their existing curriculum. The program is designed for the schools to be in charge, so that literally the program is sitting on their server. They control it, they staff it, they can set the date when they want to start it, how long they want to run it for. Do they want to compress it or they want to extend it over a couple of semesters? They have those design or those decision options. And also the big thing about it is that because the program is sitting on a school server, it's also sitting behind their firewalls, and therefore it's keeping student data quite secure, as secure as all the other things they're protecting. And it's continuously updated, so that's a real boon for schools, because they don't have the resources often to be able to keep things fresh, and so we're sitting behind this, keeping this thing up to date. So I've set it up on Moodle. I think that's the ideal platform for it. And this is where probably becomes interesting to the techies is what I've done is, you see, you've got students, you've got parents, and you've got teachers. There are 3 courses. And those 3 courses, I'll talk about the eModerator course in a minute, but the 3 courses, they run in parallel. So you've got your student course, you got your parents course, and you got your teachers course, and they all start at the same time, and then they run through time in sync with each other. So when we're dealing with some topic here at the first week, the first learning module, then that is shared with the parents and with the teachers. But, and there's a lot of talk in this iMoot about audiences, it is that each course is designed specifically for its audience. So the students will learn about that topic from their point of view, with the resources that are interesting to them, and also at their ability level. So the same thing happens for parents, which have a total different take on that topic, because they're parents, they have a different look at things, and likewise teachers would be much more from a pedagogical point of view. But they're talking about the same topic, or they're learning about the same topic, and then there's various points along the course itself where they interconnect with each other through forums. So there's a lot of talk within the groups, but there is also a lot of talk between groups, which I'll elaborate on a little bit more. The courses, of course, are filled with rich resources. There's plenty, and it's gamified. Forums are a big deal. And of course, there's this assessment component with the quizzes, which are wonderful in Moodle. You can create all sorts of stuff. The learning modules are created on a very regular basis, and that's just good practice, where once the participants are starting to get familiar with the structure of a learning module, and you roll out the next learning module, they already kind of expect, okay, I'm going to see this first, and then I'm going to see that. And so it's very important to keep the learning modules in a very regular pattern for them to feel reassured in what's coming up next. So the basic layout is quick run of what this particular learning module is all about. This is a learning module 6, so it's way down in the course. It's about copyright and all the issues associated with copyright. The students are getting a real indication of what the program is all about. So really detailed. They've got this document right at the beginning. This is what you're going to be doing, etc., etc. Good instructions. And then they have this video resource, which generally is done in class, where it's just been shown overhead on a screen, perhaps, and then the class discusses, with each other about what they've just seen. And then there are activities that they do online on their iPads that are much more associated with the Moodle platform itself. And once they finish those activities, they load them up in this forum as a scorecard, and so they get to share what they've been achieving. And there's always materials with it that are supportive documents, and here there's an interactive where they can play around with stuff. And then there is here this forum that they share with the teachers. And if you look at the similar module for the teachers, which is this one here, you can see there's that forum where the student teachers are talking with each other. Sorry. This is the same learning module, learning 6 for teachers, and it just the same material, but exactly from their own perspective and their own interest. And likewise, we've got that for the parents, their take on what copyright issues are, how can they support it at home, and the like. So there's documents in there which encourages the parents to talk with the children, with their kids, about these issues. And these documents help them, and these activities help them. How do you do that? How do you initiate that? How do you not to bearing down on your kid, but just having a real one-to-one conversation with them that is conducive to learning. Okay, so it's all about talking with each other, and here this is the pictorial of that they're talking within groups, and it's all about knowledge creation. See, modern education really is drifting towards we are not the content authorities anymore. We are guides, and this is very much in line with that kind of thinking, is that we just facilitate through Moodle. It's like walking into an art gallery and there's beautiful pictures on the wall and you're really getting inspired. But then you are there with your friends and you start talking about these resources. And it's in that discussion that knowledge is being created. And then when you start mixing groups, then that you really amplify that, because now you're getting different perspectives that are contributing, and you're doing it in an environment that's quite safe. You know, I like forums. It really brings out the shy people and the likes. And there's an eModerator there, so there's people that are looking out to amplify particular bits of information that are interesting and the likes. But it becomes really community-specific knowledge creation. You see, I have no idea what a particular community finds interesting with digital citizenship. I can provide a good broad perspective and all the resources associated with that, but then they will decide what they find interesting and what is relevant to them in that particular community. And I find that absolutely wonderful. And Moodle is so good in providing that platform for it. That makes me very exciting to do that. Now, of course, everybody wants to be awarded, so every learning module gets a badge, and there's a badge for the kids, and there's a badge for the parents, and there's a badge for the teachers. They also want to win things, they love it. And of course, when they complete the whole thing, they're getting a license to say that they've completed this and they've achieved something. So that's a big deal. Now, as you saw before with this platform that I've created, there was another fourth course, which is the eModerator course. And it is because I intend to have this program just sitting in a school, and schools may not necessarily, or the teachers or staff may not necessarily have much experience with running a program like this. I thought it'd be smart to create a small course in there for teachers to learn the essential skills of being able to do the job. And so the eModerator is basically, they preside over their groups. It may be their own class, or it may be parent groups or teacher groups, but they're presiding over it. And basically, this is particularly important at the forum level where they see things. So they learn about the Moodle basics in this course, how to navigate, what resources are important to them, and et cetera, et cetera. They'll learn about the actual course structure. How is this program put together, so that they will, once they become the guides, so to speak, they'll have the bigger picture in the background. They'll learn about the 5-stage process, and that's been mentioned by various presenters in this iMoot as well, where the e-learning process has definite stages to it, where you got your early stage, where you really need to guide your participants, and then as they go through this process, they're becoming more and more independent until in the very end, the process needs to become more reflective. And as a moderator, you have different activities, or you behave in different ways, and so that needs to be learned. And for example, teachers need to learn the skill of weaving, where you're looking at your forums, and there's lots of things coming in, hopefully, and it becomes kind of a little bit diluted. So you really take what is out there and put a focus on that, and then just put a post on that, so that everybody goes, oh yeah, that's what it's all about. Great, So it really is amplifying the learning in the forums. It's a real skill. Also, the understanding of what asynchronous communication is all about. it's so different to face-to-face communication. And if you're not used to it, you can really, you can go through all sorts of emotional traumas, but when you put something out and you really, really find that precious and you just don't get any response, that can be really hurtful. But that's just the nature of asynchronous communication. And teachers that have had very little experience of this, they need to understand that to be able to soothe, or even for their own sanity, appreciate that this asynchronous communication has very special qualities. And then finally, they learn about how to manage their own time, because my experience is once people get into this, they get so absorbed, they get obsessive, and they could spend hours just going through these forums, and that's, we all know teachers are very time poor, so that would just be really a negative on the whole program. People say, oh, it's a great program, but it takes far too much my time. So it's very important to put a time management module in there, so that we can say, hey, listen, you can do this in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, do it twice a day, do it specific time. Say, I'm on at 10 o'clock for 15 minutes, and at 5 o'clock twice a day. Everybody knows that, and they expect that. You stick to it, and that's it. You don't go in all the time. There are little skills like that are pretty key. So that's basically how the program sits together. Now, the school really, really benefits in that they achieve a collective understanding of the acceptable use policy. This boring document that they dish out at the beginning of the school year suddenly becomes this living document that everybody has studied and had something to say about, and may even have contributed to the fact from, hey, maybe we should change this, or maybe we should include this, or this doesn't suit. Even the title, acceptable use policy, is now being debated as being, is that really the right name for it? Do we want to empower that document more and maybe call it responsible use policy? This is just a slight difference in nature where you're becoming responsible rather than having to accept something, So, there'll be discussions that can be at all levels that come out of this. Teachers feel really empowered because suddenly they got a handle on this topic, which is really confounding to a lot of them. And so they now know how to incorporate this into their own classes and in their classwork. And also, they've got a good understanding of how they can model this in terms of how they behave, you see, because kids continuously look at adults from, okay, what are they doing? And they model their behavior on that. And so if you are, sitting in a class as a teacher and you are, while everybody is working, you suddenly are doing something on your phone while everybody has to have their phone in a carton box or, put away in their bags, that's not good role modeling. So it's important for them to really realize it. And that goes all the way onto how they present themselves on social media and what their duty of care is and all that sort of thing. They're pretty crucial stuff. Teachers and schools doing this program, because I'm associated with this or using a lot of the resources from Common Sense Media, that is enough for them to then say, okay, we are well on our way to be certified, which has all sorts of things. Good for teachers, and it's also good for schools because they can use it in their PR. Teachers fulfill their annual obligations. I don't know what it is like in the countries that you reside in, but in Australia, teachers need to do 20 hours a year of professional development. And this program is, will cover that, so that's a good thing for teachers. The parents, if we can pull them in, and it's one of the hardest things is to really get parents involved. But this, once you get them past the hurdle of, this technology, the good thing about this is that it can be done on iPhones. And once they get that, that they can do it just in these little bits of time when they're sitting on a tram here in Melbourne or wherever. They can just hook in on it. And I've also made that program that there is no pressure on them whatsoever. They don't have to pass anything. There's no quizzes for them, etc., etc. It's very light. It's just giving them information and fostering that discussion for them. So I've made it so that it's quite easy on the parents. But when they go through the whole thing, they feel empowered. They know what the school is doing in this area and how they can support at home. And that is so incredibly important. Then the students, have always been left out in policy making, which is crazy. But in this program, they really are being given a voice, and they can amplify that voice as much as they want in the forums. And also, of course, because they go through this whole thing and it's so interactive, they learn a lot about the topic itself. The school gets, because Moodle compiles all this data and you can extract it and analyze it and all that sort of stuff. So you can, by the end of it, say, okay, look, this is what your school community has been, has derived that from this program. And you can do whatever you like with it. You can see if you need to change your AUP, or maybe there are issues come up that a lot of kids can't do certain things at home because there's no internet access, or what have you. These things will come up. So that's basically it. The end of my talk. If you have any questions, please, you can do so now, or otherwise contact me in any of these ways. And also in the content area, there is a possibility to connect. So let me have a look if there's anything there that needs to be answered. Great idea to involve parents. Yeah, it's a hard one. At that very early stage of high school, parents are still very interested in what's going on at school. At primary school level, parents are very interested in what kids are, and they're being pulled in a lot. And that really drops off at high school. But in that early grade 7 period, when they're just getting to school, you still got them, So, and that's the ideal time to launch this program, is when they first get their devices, or they start using their devices in an educative context at high school, and the parents are still there, and you pull them in. And I think it's absolutely crucial, because what happens at home, if that is not in sync with what the school is trying to do with digital citizenship, you get very conflictual situations, and the students will generally, depending on the character, but they will take advantage. Yeah, I agree, of course. Yes. No, I think so too. I think we undervalue the contribution students can make. I personally, I'm completely on board with that. I have a science background. I'm studied as marine biologist in a past life kind of thing, and I remember very much that we were going out on this research vessel, and we were sharing this vessel with the marine geologist. And each faculty was putting more and more on this boat. And the captain at some stage was saying, look, we've got to stop this, because this boat is getting too heavy. And both the marine biologist and the marine geologist just kept going. They just weren't listening to somebody who knew. And we ended up with this boat being kept on anchor, because it wasn't certified to go out at sea anymore. And it cost a vast amount of money to get this happening. So, yeah, listening to people that are part of the stakeholders in a learning process is absolutely essential in my mind. Thanks. I would be interested to translate it into adult learning environment for employees. Yeah, well, that was very much my idea of contributing to this iMoot is that just to launch this idea that you can run courses in parallel for different groups, but that the courses are interconnected with each other and therefore fostering incredible interesting communication. I think that's my contribution to this iMoot, other than, of course, the digital citizenship program. So I'm glad you've taken that aboard. Great. Run with it. My pleasure. Real my pleasure. It's all about sharing.
And I'll quickly jump in here, Casper, and just on behalf of the iMoot team, just to thank you for your time and for a very informative presentation. Appreciate you repeating this again for us all, and hope you enjoy the rest of the iMoot, everybody. Thank you.
All the best.